Chad Hoover, and this week we're at Bienville Plantation for the top 10 anglers in the country competing in the kayak bass fishing, the 10.
Get up and put on the coffee. You know the sunlight won't last. Making my way to the country. I'm gonna catch a big old bass.
That is a spud. Yeah! Oh my God! Booyah! Hey guys, so here's the deal. We're back at Bienville Plantation for the second annual KBF the 10 and the Bienville Bassin members only tournament here at Bienville Plantation. It's 24 degrees, which means it's cold, but most of the country is shut down in a state of emergency, and these guys are duking it out for a guaranteed $10,000 first place payout. Let's go check out their setups and see some of these guys as they're gearing up to get out on the water. All right guys, so we jumped in the truck and we are headed over to Lake 14. It's the biggest lake on Bienville, and we're heading over there because that's where the 10 competitors are fishing. Let's go see if we can find a couple of guys, get some insights on the strategy and philosophy for the guys that are the top 10 anglers in the country from a competitive standpoint on the Kayak Bass Fishing Tournament Series.
I'm Corey Dreyer. I'm from Randleman, North Carolina.
That's a better fish.
My name's Eric Siddiqui. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Jamie Dennison from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Whopper.
Cody Milton from Searcy, Arkansas.
I'm Ron Champion. I'm from Richmond Hill, Georgia. Come on.
Jay Wallen, Lexington, Kentucky. Ron likes to call me Juicy J, so Juicy J.
My name's Brian Ayla, Bluefield, West Virginia.
Nice.
I'm Jody Queen. I'm from Rocky Gap, Virginia.
That's a good one.
I'm Jason Broach. I'm from Fort Pierce, Florida. Pretty fun time of year down here.
Brad Case out of Florence, Mississippi. Oh yeah, and I'm also looking for new sponsors in the Geritol and what was the other one?
Depends.
No, I don't need the Depends. That was for you.
All right, so here's one of the great things about the anglers and the kayak bass fishing top tier. They're all personalities, and every one of them's got a different one. If you look on the back of Jody's kayak right here, he's got a gator head, and that gator head is a bit of a good luck charm, but it's also a reminder for a special little incident. So of all the guys out here today that are worried about some of these big lizards that Bienville's famous for, I think Jody's probably not that worried about it, because if you're worried about whether or not you could survive a gator attack, I think he already knows firsthand. So Jody, tell everybody about your close encounter of the dinosaur kind.
Yeah, it was my first trip to Okeechobee. Of course, Okeechobee's my bucket list fishery. So I took off paddling, and I was in a small 10-foot boat at the time, and I got to my spot, and I just kind of glided in, and when my boat stopped, I made a cast, and as soon as it hit the water, a 12-foot gator come out and hit me right in the side of the kayak. And he tried to roll, but he hit me perpendicular, and he couldn't roll the whole boat. So I took my bending branches paddle here, and they got such a sharp blade on them, I hit him in between the eyes, and he wouldn't turn loose of me. And so I just took the blade and slid it across his face and cut his eye. I mean, I seen the goop, so I know I cut him. And he turned loose of me. So when he turned loose of me, I was fishing with a jig, and I was paddling so fast that the jig was hitting about every 5 feet. I got the gator head as a reminder, you know, of how lucky I was to be alive that day. And I'm hoping there's a little voodoo attached to it to protect me
And if you're ever down on Okeechobee and you see a 12-foot one-eyed gator, you know that that's where Jody was, and that gator probably ain't gonna mess with you, because he's already been taught a valuable lesson about jacking with a kayak angler. Kayak Bassin is brought to you by Bonafide Kayaks. Stability, agility, ultimate fishability. Gerber, problem solving, life-saving gear. Nines, polarized, perfected. All right, guys, so the sun is up and it's 8:15. The fishing's been going now for a little over an hour. Let's go to the 10 leaderboard on Tourney X and see if anybody's, yep. And in 20-degree weather, in probably 40-degree water temperature, when everybody tells you that a Florida strain bass won't bite, Corey Dreyer has already put a stud on the board. So that's why they're the 10, and that's why they're the top anglers in the country.
One of the advantages of kayak fishing is that we have a catch, photo, release format. Each angler has a standard measuring board. And so when the angler catches a fish, he'll lay it on the measuring board, put an identifier card near the fish, and then holds his camera up, tries to get a good shot that has the measuring board, all of the fish, and the identification card. That picture, then he selects and he'll submit it. An email with a photograph of that fish goes to the judge's dashboard in the tournament management system. The judge will make sure that the fish complies with all the rules, and he'll verify the link. All through the day, those leaderboards are being updated. The anglers are able to see how they're doing, how the competition is doing, and everyone else is able to follow right along as well.
I love looking at the standings. It kind of makes me fish harder. Some people don't like to look at it because it messes with their head, but for me, it's kind of motivation that I need to do a little better.
I mean, a lot of times I just go out and fish, and at the end of the day, that's when I start worrying about it. But if I start checking it too soon, it just tears me up.
There's 3 people who have put in fish so far. Take a look at the fish. All right, now see, it's not quite touching that line. It looked like it was on a smartphone. So it's close, but not quite. So I'm going to accept it, but I will change the score to 1950. Anyone in the country can go into the dashboard and they can go down and see the fish, so they can check it out themselves. And if they disagree with the score, they will let us know. And in a way, we've got 2,000 people backing the judges up, making sure that we do a good job of scoring these things. And every now and then, they'll find something we missed, so that's good. They let us know.
All right, guys, so we made the trek over here to the bridge. We were actually scoring fish. Huge fish came in. I called the angler. He was right around the corner. And this is what you come to BMville for. This is Steve Gilkerson from West Virginia with a chunk. Roll that belly towards us a little bit so we can, yeah, look at that. And they're just starting to feed, so that thing will have a paunch on it. It'll be another 1.5 pounds in about an hour and a half, but that's a toad, brother. First and foremost, we're running a tournament here, but the thing about it is when you come to a place like Bienville, on top of the fact that you got an opportunity to win some money, you're fishing in an awesome fishery, and you always have that chance of catching that fish of a lifetime and, you know, best in whatever personal best you have.
Bienville Plantation is the world's foremost largemouth bass fishery and an amazing resort. We have luxury log cabins, 11,000 acres, 12 lakes, and some of the best bass fishing in the country. We're super stoked to be hosting the 10 and the KBF members only Bienville Bassin Tournament. You can see some of the guys behind me fishing today, and we've already got reports of them catching several fish over 20 inches, and it's only a couple hours into the tournament. If you've got a kayak and you want to come do kayak bass fishing, we're more than happy to host you to do that. Or if you'd like to come for a guided trip and just stay for a few days, enjoy some 5-star lodging, dining, and amenities, and like I said, some of the best bass fishing in the country, then we'd sure love to hear from you.
This is a cool place, man. I've been in a kayak for about 5 or 6 years now. Been doing the tournaments for maybe 2, going on about 3 years. Being on the water in a kayak to me it's kind of like my meditation time. I like the serenity of being out here, not having a loud motor screaming behind you, and you can access some waters that a motorboat has never been to. I found some little sneaky spots that makes me wonder if those fish have even ever seen a lure sometimes. So if you're lucky enough to find those, you can have a really fun day out there.
I'm gonna roll down the river now. Down that river. Gonna head to the place where I know I belong. I belong. I'm gonna see my heart beating with the freedom of the love of the home that I know is where I'm from.
Easily the first thing that stands out is everyone's so willing to share and so supportive, and gets excited when someone else catches a good fish too. So even though there's plenty of competitiveness amongst all the anglers, like guys still support each other, and a lot of positivity here.
I tell everybody where I'm fishing, you know, what I'm throwing. That's kind of the great thing about kayak fishing is we're all friends.
If you're going to have longevity in this sport and continue to compete at this level, I mean, you have to have, there's a certain amount of character that you bring with you, and I'll tell you, this sport and KBF is full of anglers with that character and integrity.
I'm gonna roll with the waters now. I'm headed up, I'm gonna find myself home where the green grass grows, where the sun always shows. No, I ain't looking back, gonna find myself a home.
Kayak Bassin is brought to you by the iCatch app, the most advanced tournament fishing app. Gerber, problem-solving, life-saving gear. Yak Attack, make it yours. Power Pole Micro Anchor, swift, silent, secure, and small. Nines, polarized, perfected. All right, guys, so we found one of the anglers for the 10. Let's make it a little bit of a late start. It's my longtime friend, Ron Champion. Ron's got about 40 boxes here that he's going to, and a bit of a frenzy. What are you doing, Ron?
Well, I was looking for a few specific colors of my grande bass. Right. I need some creature baits.
Can we show what color that is?
Sure. Yeah.
So he's using the grande bass, mega claws, Okeechobee craw. If he does make a ridiculously monumental comeback, that's probably what he's gonna have done it on. I like that. It's green, got a little blue in it.
Yeah.
Got a little glitter.
This
got a little extra appendage on it.
This is the trophy hunter. This is and it's got a little more June bug
in it. Little June bug, little green with red, little pumpkin seed, blue, green. That's pretty much like every effective color, you know, rolled up into one.
Yeah, it's called trophy hunter for a reason. That's what I'm going after.
All right, so tell everybody what adjustments you're gonna make.
I'm changing it up. I fish deep yesterday trying to catch suspended fish. That ain't happening. I'm going shallow today. I made that adjustment late yesterday. So between creature baits and small crankbaits, I'm on them.
So if you guys really want to know Ron Champion's secret to consistent success, it's the shoes. I don't know, what are these, size 17? Let's actually check these out. This size, good Lord, size 14.
Don't be hating.
There it is right there. That's Ron Champion's secret to success. It's the kicks is what I'm saying. It's all about the kicks.
Tell you a little secret when you tournament fishing. Look at the guys' boats when they blast off. Whoever has the least amount of rods is on fish. Whoever has the most ain't doing so well. Look at my boat.
I've got a, square bill crankbait rod, and I've got a deep water crankbait rod. I've got spinning rods and swim bait rods, football jig rods. I started out with a crankbait rod. It was my first technique-specific rod, and I noticed a huge difference in the amount of fish I caught and how well they were hooked. So then I started buying other rods for techniques that I use the most, and it's just grown from there. It's kind of like asking a golfer to go golfing with one club to expect a fisherman not to have a bunch of rods.
I want to talk to you about a new rod holder, the Omega rod holder from Kayak, and why I'll be using this thing from now on. The rod simply drops into it, goes down behind this little gap right here, and it locks in because your trigger catches. For extra security, you can lock it with the locking mechanism if you want to troll or drive down the road with it on there even, because it's extra secure. But here's the big ticket and why this rod holder is so awesome. Let me take the rod out of it so I can show you the full articulation. But the way that this thing works is there's a button on the side, and you press it and rotate it. When you drop it, it locks. It locks, and it turns and locks in every direction. There's a little keyway in this track that keeps it from being able to be pulled out of the track. So I can move this thing around if I want to face the rod holder forwards, backwards, more vertical, less vertical, by simply pressing this button, rotating it, dropping it, and lock it. But unlike other rod holders I've used in the past, when you loosen them up, they fall. They just completely collapse. You can loosen this one up, and the spring-loaded pressure allows you to keep the position, push on it and articulate it to where you want to go, push on the other part, articulate it, but it doesn't collapse, and then you can tighten it back down. The new Omega rod holder from Kayak, it's everything I need. I think that's why they called it the Omega, because it's the last rod holder you'll ever need. Let's go check on some of the guys in the 10 and see how they're doing. Kayak Bassin is brought to you by the iCatch app, Gerber, Kayak, Nines, Power Pole Micro Anchor, All right, guys, so we worked our way back through this maze to try to find today's leader, Corey Dreyer. And when we rounded the corner, he just hooked another fish. Let's go in and see what Corey caught it on and see how big a fish he caught and how much that's gonna affect his position on the leaderboard.
I got onto a little pattern yesterday afternoon in this little creek. What I've been doing is finding isolated grass mats around wood, really shallow. So what I'm using is a Strike King Rage Bug. Today I switched over to black and blue. Yesterday I was throwing chameleon. And believe it or not, this is the exact same bait that I was throwing last year here at the 10. But I'm just going fishing. I'm fishing the way I'm comfortable and what I know. So right now on Tourney X, I'm in the lead. I just landed a 18.5-inch fish, but the day's not over. I'm still worried. Good friend Jamie, he is a hell of a fisherman, and he doesn't upload his fish till after 5 o'clock when we need to be off the water. I was invited back by Chad and KBF to come back and fish Bienville for unfinished business. So Ron Champion and I were co-champions last year here at the 10. And we're here fishing for $1,000, kind of bragging rights between him and I. And we're also fishing for the $10,000 in the 10.
20 and a half. 20 and a half inches. Pretty fish, healthy fish. Nice, fat belly. Time to let this bad girl go.
Yeah, that one's 20 and a half. This is where it gets a little, that imaginary line that runs across there, I'm gonna say it touches on that.
I'm closing the gap on those guys. I'm fishing for pride after one fish yesterday. It's all pride today. So, and I figured it out late yesterday that they were chewing a crankbait, and that's all my fish so far. Everything's on wood too. Like you feel it, crankbait come across the top of a wood, you just kind of pause it, and then as soon as you go to engage it, bam.
All right, so for those of you guys that fish crankbaits and don't have a lot of success, if you watch what Ron's doing right now, that's called doing it right. If you're fishing wood, especially when the water's cold and that dark wood is what's absorbing that heat and those bass are right up against it, if you're not hanging up every 10 or 15 casts, and sometimes even more frequently than that, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Ron's doing it right, and that's why he's putting fish on the board and closing the gap on the leader.
That's number 5. Whew. I can now just gotta do some upgrading. Thank you, Lord. Go grow up some more, girl. She gonna dance.
I wish I could be fishing right now. Can I just fish behind you? Can I maybe just like back clean up? Oh man. Hey Chad, you've got the life. You get to go everywhere and fish all these cool places. Yeah, I do. But sometimes it sucks. You get to come to cool places and watch other people fish. But I guess I could say it's better than being like Amish, because they don't have TVs, so they can't be offended really. Unless maybe somebody told them that they saw it on TV. Do people tell Amish people what they saw on TV, you think? These are the kind of things that goes through my head. All right guys, so the anglers have about an hour left to fish to determine who's the 2018 Kayak Bass Fishing 10 champion. Also, we're gonna determine who the Angler of the Year is. There's a lot of fish going up on the boards. It seems like it heated up in the afternoon. I got my gear loaded up. I gotta head back to the lodge and set up for the award ceremony. So let's head back and find out who's gonna go home with a brand new bona fide kayak for the biggest bass, and who's gonna go home with the hardware and the big check. Let me get Corey Dreyer, Jody Queen, Jamie Dennison, and Ron Champion up to the front, please. Let's give these guys a round of applause for just being here. Every time these guys show up and put their money down, they're a threat to win, and it shows the consistency that they're back up here again. So, in 4th place, and the biggest fish of the 10, Mr. Ron Champion. All right, to get the drama going, in 3rd place, Mr. Jody Queen. All right, so if you were here last year, you know that last year Ron and Corey tied. Corey's already taken home $1,000 because we had a $1,000 bounty on whichever one of these guys took the highest position. And not only did he take the highest position, but he's standing up here with a chance to win it. So anyway, congratulations, Corey. It was close. So by a 1/4 inch, and the winner of the 2018 KBF the 10, Mr. Jamie Dennison. All right, guys, so that is it. It's the 2010 here at Bienville Plantation. Jamie, here's the deal. Tell the folks at home what it means to you to have won this event, and then tell the folks at home exactly what you did to win it.
Well, first and foremost, it's a little overwhelming. It really hadn't sunk in. I'm sitting here just running through my mind. It's like, holy cow, what just happened? I'm sure on the way home, I'm probably just going to break down and literally cry.
You want to just do that now?
No, really.
Now, tell everybody what you did to catch them.
Basically, I went junk fishing today. I put my head down and I just covered water. I picked up a creature bait and I went flipping.
So he junk fished his way to $15,000 and the 2nd ever Kayak Bass Fishing Angler of the Year and lifetime member of the 10 fraternity. but he's coming back to defend the title next year at the 2019 KBF the 10. Jamie, congrats. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week for more kayak bass fishing.
Take care, guys.